Hello and welcome to Rockstar Manager. I'm Dr. K, the management professor, and this episode is about the basics of branding, what makes a brand powerful, and how the idea of branding first came to be. But first, please subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button down below and also hit the notifications button so you'll see each time I post a new video. Did you ever wonder where the concept of branding started? Interestingly, the word brand derived from the Old Norse word brander, B-R-A-N-D-R, which means to burn. It dates back to when owners stamped their livestock to distinguish the cattle they owned. Traders were then able to identify which animals came from which farms, and then they developed their preferences. If we research the ancient Greeks, Romans, Egyptians, and Asians, they too stamped or put their signature on pottery and other products. Just the same, buyers would develop preferences for quality and so forth, thus developing a preference for some brands over others. Today, we do the same thing. We understand that a brand is more than a logo. It stands for quality, status, and our impression of it. Knowing where a product originates gives it more clout, and consumers are willing to pay a little more simply because they have more confidence in the product or brand. If you read Fashion Branding Unraveled, a brand is defined as an entity with a distinctive idea expressed in a set of functional and experiential features with a promise of a value reward relevant to its end user and an economic return to its producers. In fact, the author discusses about a dozen key concepts for brands, which I'm going to attempt to quickly summarize for you. The first is entity. The term entity encompasses more than a product, including market value, prestige, and financial worth. Next is the idea. This is the version of the brand which is expected to develop into a triangle outcome. Then there are three distinctive features. Features can include specific prices, distribution location, and other concepts that differentiate this product from its competing products in the marketplace. Then there's the promise of value. Oftentimes, it's the value that determines whether or not someone will make the purchase. Values can be determined at prestige levels like Rolex or Gucci, or everyday levels for the mass marketers like Old Navy and Walmart. Relevance is another key concept of branding. Relevance not only refers to its place in society, but it also refers to the brand itself. For example, in the 90s, Harley-Davidson went outside their core motorcycle products and attempted to enter into cologne and the aftershave market. It didn't work because it was too far removed from their core product line. Essentially, what defined them as a brand was their motorcycles. If you were asked, why would you purchase a luxury brand belt such as Prada, it would explain why you would be willing to pay more for a product. For you, to explain what you would prefer over Prada over Louis, it would explain how you would segment specific value. Ultimately, that contributes to the brand's core value. Now we'll talk about brand identity. Identity is what the brand means to consumers. When we think about identity, we have concepts already established. If I asked you how you would describe so-and-so, you would think of his or her name and start to share some characteristics of how you see that person. For brands, identity is more than a name. Identity for brands includes colors. For example, Harley-Davidson uses orange and black. Tiffany uses a light blue box to pack its purchased items. Logos are the graphical depiction of a brand. I have a video on my channel dedicated to logos and their hidden meanings, and I recommend you watch. Another identity characteristic is the typography or the font that brands use, often easily recognized by consumers. Additionally, personality is another characteristic that helps identify brand identity. As it is with humans, brands have personalities. Consider words such as fun, classy, intelligent, and savvy. You would likely identify brands, each related to one of these words. Another branding concept is positioning. A brand's position is often related to how it's perceived in the marketplace among competition. Companies strategize about both products and the brand itself. They consider what gives them the distinctive advantage, or in other words, consider the product mix. The product mix includes features, price, distribution, and support. The more unique the mix, the more competitive the brand. Brand image is how the consumer sees the brand. Sometimes a consumer's perception of the brand is quite different than the brand's intention. This can happen when a consumer's experience with the brand doesn't align with the customer's cultural, religious, or economic background. Additionally, there can be external factors that influence how a consumer views a brand. Have you ever had a bad experience at a restaurant or with a product that essentially tainted your view of them? That emotion could run so deep that when the brand is brought up in conversation, you feel your blood boil because of that negative experience. Innovation keeps the brand competitive. Brands must be flexible and have the capacity to change to the changing needs of society. They should have new features or become more reliable, ultimately motivating consumers to make the purchase. The last key concept is consistency. Brand offerings, such as the ones we just talked about, need to be consistent. Without it, there won't be customer loyalty and therefore repeat purchases. Before we end the video, I want to talk about brand segments, lifestyle, and ethics. When it comes to market segments, there are 4: mass market, luxury, premium, and private label. Mass market brands include Gap, Nike, and Anne Klein. They're priced rationally and have a wider distribution. Luxury brands like Gucci, Prada, or Dior are more exclusive, and due to their price points, they get limited distribution. Premium brands, or sometimes referred to as new luxury, are a mix of mass market and luxury. They're usually priced at the high end of mass market, but are more accessible, like Victoria's Secret. The 4th is private label. These are brands specifically sold for the retailer, such as Alfani by Macy's. It's sold within the chain, but can compete with other brands. There are 4 stages of a brand life cycle: introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. Remember, brands outlive the life cycle of their products. Apple remains a strong brand even though its products only last for specific periods of time, called a product life cycle. The introduction stage is when the new product is introduced to the market. As the product takes off in the market, it moves into the growth stage. After the hype is over, but the sales remain high, it's in the maturity stage. And once sales start to decline, the product moves into the decline stage. Lastly, there are the ethics of the brands. Specifically, child labor, poor working conditions, and sweatshops are issues discussed when it comes to branding and malpractice. Nike, The Gap, and Abercrombie & Fitch, and also Adidas were among many apparel brands accused of producing products with workers in unethical conditions. I have a video on this channel entitled 4 Ethical Rules that may help you make better business judgment decisions. Hopefully you have a better understanding of how brands came to be and what makes them powerful in the marketplace. If you're interested in learning more about related topics, you can find my book, Rockstar Manager from Theory to Practice, or Build a Rockstar Business from Ideation to Inception in 120 Minutes if you want to start a new business, or read Bloomsbury's Fashion Branding Unraveled. Thanks for your time. Be your best you and be a rockstar manager.